Hi and welcome. Chris Principi, publisher of Financial IT, here at one of my favorite events of the year. It's Sibos 2025, the big SWIFT event, the home for all international banking and more. And it's in one of the great financial capitals of the world, Frankfurt, Germany. So what I want to do is bring you something extra special. Certainly, you can see the logo behind me as a little hint. Standard Chartered, one of the truly great historic banks that's been around and done the job for a long time. And I have one of their top executives as our guest today. Mark, how are you?
Thanks, very well. And thanks for having me on your show today. I'm Mark Willis. I'm the global head of what we call API and digital asset platforms. What does that really mean? It's how we take traditional banking products and services and deliver them as APIs, right? So that allows customers to build out digital experiences. A lot of those customers are a new type of segment that we face. That would be the fintechs that you're starting to see on the floor here at Sibos, a big presence of them here this year, and driving new business models, right? So new flows and just new capabilities that the bank has not had access to before.
Well, for me, it's really interesting, Mark, because, you hear so much about all the different products and services. And of course, AI is a big talking point for everyone. But you're really involved in an area where you don't hear much about, but it's so critical, is all these great things. How do you connect them all and actually make them valuable to the client base?
Yeah, I think, like anything you build for a client, it's putting the client first, and designing an experience that's simplified, right? So one of the things we focus on, particularly in this space, we have a property called Open Banking Marketplace. Okay. And what we really try to do is deliver all these capabilities in a single place. So it's easy for our clients to look at it like a menu and look at these building blocks and really simplify that piece. Obviously, as you know, there's a lot of complexity underneath that. The bank is a complex place across different product lines and groups and systems and whatnot. So how do you simplify that? How do you deliver it in a way that it's really easy for our customers to understand, consume, and create value for themselves and us?
Well, again, I pick up on one thing you said is the complexities and all. Really, I find the customers, they don't really want to know how do you do it, but they trust a brand like Standard Chartered to be able to actually do that and deliver that and not have to worry about it. So what are the challenges that you find with your customers that you're able to solve for them?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our bank, we're a network bank. That's one of our strengths. We're operating across the emerging markets. And I think that's really a sweet spot for us. And if you look at how we distribute that, one of those key pain points for our clients is how do they integrate and connect with us in a single way, but they get access to a global network. So whether that's across payments, FX, custody, or any of our products, really how do we simplify that journey, right? How do we allow them to quickly scale across our network? And that's really been a value add and something we've heard a lot from our clients that is something unique and special.
Well, it fits with what you and I talked about a little bit earlier, which is really it's a platform, right? And I think a lot of times people just think of it as tech, but it's so much more. And I mean, let's face it, tech doesn't care, right? You build it and it does what you want it to do. So when you put it in a platform, now you've got a value added for the customers. This is something that I think that they really need.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. And I think when you use the term API, it's a technical term. It's application programming interfaces. So people think this is a very tech-driven thing, but I think you nailed the point. And it's about the platform. It's about the ecosystem you build around it. How do your clients come in and discover a solution? What are the possibilities? What are the use cases? And quickly go through a journey where they can experiment, test out, and launch these solutions, right? So there's a lot more to it. Obviously, technology is critical and important, and we need all the ingredients to provide a reliable service. But there's a lot more to it, and you will see more and more the narrative around platforms becoming a differentiator, right? Because you really want to own that customer relationship, and that's can be a differentiator, and it's not just a commodity.
You know, when you talk about platforms also, it makes me think, and I've known Standard Charter for a long time, and you guys have always been very customer centric.
Yeah.
And when you look at customers, they generally have the same needs, but each one has something that's usually one or two things that are usually unique to their business, whether it's the industry or the regional location.
Yeah.
How are you able to accommodate that for them?
I don't recall.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges, right? I think obviously working across a diverse set of clients as well as markets, how much customization do you allow? Of course, if you go too far down one end of the spectrum, you build something that's not scalable. And there's no real formula to this, right? You need to find what that right mix is. Obviously, if it's a really large relationship or a really large partnership, we will do things that are very specific. But as much as possible, we do try to standardize. We do try to make that more global. To my earlier point, how do we get that scale across our network? How do we allow these multinationals to turn on quickly and really leverage the capabilities that we offer?
What I'm hearing is that you're close with your customer base. You're looking and seeing what their issues are, what you can solve, and you're not just delivering solutions, you're solving business problems for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think if I talk specifically about, again, APIs and people seeing them as this technical thing, if you look at what they were 5 years ago, banks would send a client, a thick set of documentation, right? Very technical documentation, and that would go to the technical department. And those, projects would run for several months, right? So how do you innovate on that user experience? And how do you start? And that's really something we've done, is to say, how do we start from a solution, from an industry view, and to say, well, these are the use cases relevant to your segment. That, and then bringing in the client stories, right? What have our clients done successfully, and really making that available. So we try to bring it up a level, talk much more about the solution, and then get into and simplify what those technical details are in the easy way. And if you look at, the fintechs or the tech companies, they do this really well, right? They have done this really well because they focused on simplifying their customer experience.
Yeah, no, I think that's very true. And also, I would imagine that one of the real benefits in a platform approach is, when new things come down the line, when there's new products, it makes it you have a place to put them already.
Yeah. So it's a distribution strategy, right? So you have the capability to distribute those products. Obviously, bringing any new product to market is always a journey. There are many facets to it. But you have a single way in which you can distribute those products. You have clients that are already hooked up to that platform. They've invested the time in getting onboarded and set up there. So when you do add new capabilities, the ability to cross-sell and deepen that relationship is a lot easier. Yeah.
So Mark, we're here at Sibos. It's a great event. Yeah. There's so much new innovation, these kind of things. Can you give me a little bit about your view on where the industry is going?
Yeah, so I think certainly you see it this year. A lot of talk around digital assets, digital ledger technology. We've seen Swift make an announcement this week about the digital ledger. 30 plus banks are participating in, what the future of that could look like, right? And that's pretty significant, right? An organization like Swift that is now recognizing that, this is necessary for the industry. So certainly I would say, a lot of focus in that area. There's a general acceptance that is the future of financial market infrastructure, digital ledger technology combined with tokenization.
Well, great. And Mark, I'd like to thank you so much for spending some time with us at Financial Tea. I wish you and Standard Charter the best success in the future.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.